on with the group yet?
I think you are.
Can you still hear us?
I can barely hear you. Yep.
Okay. Sorry, is this the mic that's attached to? This is it. Can you hear us, Ted?
Hey, y'all.
Barely.
Hey. So, y'all, we're here on top of Betty Jean Mountain at the Winthrop Rockefeller Institute. This is our third gathering where we're focused on the opportunity that we have in district court to be able to divert folks from future incarceration and the need for foster care. We've got lots of folks here that have been working on playbooks and what laws and resources are needed. And so we wanted to take this opportunity, and Attorney General Griffin, let me introduce Ted first, and then everyone knows the Attorney General, but we wanted to provide the opportunity to interact with you and the folks that are working on this. Ted Dickey has been a board member for Restore Hope since the very beginning. So back in 2016, and it's been a key part of our workings. And Attorney General Griffin is very interested in this alternative sentencing idea that we have, and that some of you all are engaged in your communities, and wanted to take the opportunity to talk to you a little bit about that. General.
Well, I got on here to hear Ted. Ted, are you going first?
Yes, I'm done. Turning over to you.
Oh, you're done? Wow. Okay. Well, that's going to be a hard one to match. Well, thank y'all for having me. I can't see who I'm talking to, but I know I'm talking. Let me see here. There's a button to push. Anyway, I don't know. In any event, thank y'all. Oh, I see you. I see you. Thank y'all for having me. That's a beautiful place where you are up there. I just wanted to quickly say this has been a long process, talking with Paul and Ted and a number of others who have been involved with Restore Hope, and just understanding fully what you're doing and the impact you're having. You know, my approach is, and I talked a whole lot about it in the podcast that we did, that I did with Paul, and that is that there's not one answer. There's sort of a mosaic, a bunch of different things. There's veterans courts, there's drug courts, there's diversion, there's identifying those who would harm all of us and locking them up for a long, long time. There's increasing capacity, and I was very, very extremely involved in the PROTECT Act. On the other hand, there are people who have a high percentage, a high likelihood that they just need some help getting back on the right track, and can be productive, not just survive, but thrive. I was on the board of Pathway to Freedom for a long time and believe in their Christ-based ministries. I was on the board of Our House, so I've seen that side of it. And so I know that there are a lot of different people doing different things, and not all of them work, but a number of them do work. And so it really is a multifaceted approach, and that's how I approach what you all do. A lot of people are doing things, but not what you're doing, and many of them are needed all at once to deal with different parts of the problem and different populations and what have you. So the bottom line is, I was, as AG, I have access to some funds that I did not have access to in previous, well, definitely as Lieutenant Governor. And so I was asked whether I'd be interested in helping support financially what your work. And so, the issue that I have is we have two pots of money. I have two pots of money that I can utilize. One is called restricted funds. It can only be used for the purposes specified in the settlements. And that's opioid, for example, is an example of that. And looks like Sterling just texted me a picture of me. I don't know what that was, but in any event, or maybe a picture of y'all. I can't see it, but Sterling, who's there with you. In any event, the restricted funds are exactly that. They're restricted. They're restricted to certain uses, and they're not restricted to any good idea. They're restricted to a particular definition. And then there are unrestricted funds, which can be used at my discretion for pretty much any purpose. Well, the problem is the unrestricted funds are extremely restricted, meaning we don't have many of them. And, that's just the nature of it. And for example, the opioid money is restricted, and we have a lot of that. We have, or at least we're going to, as the years pass, we'll continue to get money in there. So when I get a proposal, hey, can you give $1 million for this or 500,000 for that or whatever? Sometimes I say, oh, this would be great, but our unrestricted funds are very limited. And so I really need to use those for this, but I don't have that much. And there have been some uses of those funds in the past that I'm not continuing with. And so that's made them more available, but they're still extremely limited. And so I'm always asking questions to see if there's some way to fund a request through the restricted, or maybe a combination. And so I was asked for, I think, 2 million. Is that right, Paul, in this case? And so what I'm committing to today is $1 million. We're gonna do a combination of restricted and unrestricted, and to let you see what's going on sort of behind the curtain in the process. I ask up front, how much of what you deal with can be attributed to opioids? And I need to know that, because that number will dictate how much of the funding I can pull from the opioid settlement funds. And there was an estimate of a good faith estimate of about 80% of people involved in your program in some way had some sort of interaction, abuse, whatever, with opioids. And so what we're doing for the first $1 million, I'm committing to the first $1 million today. We're going to do 800,000 from the opioid funds and 200,000 from, which are restricted, and 200,000 from the unrestricted. And then assuming progress and all of that, we'll do another 2 million down the road. That's the plan. I will tell you, there's no statutory requirement for me to, and how I give out money, but I decided that I needed to build a record. I need to be accountable to the public. So if someone comes to me and says, why did you do this? The law doesn't really require me to have anything. But I didn't want to say, well, someone asked me in an elevator, I thought it was a good idea, so I'll cut my check, which is really all you could do that. So what I said is, look, I want a letter, I want a proposal, I want as detailed as possible, and I want to follow up in a year with everybody I give money to and say, what happened with the money we gave you? Because we owe that to the taxpayer. And government generally, federal government with the COVID funds, and government generally is really bad at that. They give out money and they move on to the next person. And then you see a story a few years later about how this was done and that was done improper. That's not going to happen here. But what I am showing, consistent with this approach, is an interest in what happens next, right? I don't want to just give money away. I want y'all to be successful. I want to know how I can help you be successful. So this can be an iterative process where we communicate along the way. And if you hit roadblocks and say, we're really limited because of this law, or we're really limited because we don't have this relationship. Although I know you're going to have all the relationships you need with Ted Dickey and some of the other people you got involved. But I want to be a part of that process so that a year in, when we say, hey, let's talk about what that $1 million did, we don't hear about any obstacles or problems then. We want to hear them iteratively. We want to hear them throughout the process in a conversational kind of way so that we can take steps to address them. So anyway, we're going to give $1 million now, and y'all do your good work. And then we'll revisit this in a year. But my hope, my plan is to get the next tranche then, but maybe we can dream even bigger. Maybe we can achieve even more than you planned. Maybe your plans next time can be amended in a year to think bigger, to do more, to cover more space, to see more people transition. And I'll leave you with this. I tell a lot of people, I tell a lot of my conservative friends, I said, we ought to own this space, because people like me have a number of reasons why we want to see people, either those who have been in prison or those who have struggled, sometimes with the law or whatever. There are a number of reasons why we ought to be for helping. Number one, there but for the grace of God goes I. That's number one. Can happen to any of us. That's the Christian approach. But if that doesn't appeal to you, here's some practical reasons. Number two, they're coming to a neighborhood near you. Do you want people stealing your tools or knocking on the door and asking if they can borrow them? I think we know the answer. We want people to thrive, not just survive. We want them to become productive members of society, right? So the number two one is they're coming to a neighborhood near you. We want them, we want you to be safe. We want them to be good neighbors, productive neighbors. Next, number three is it's cheaper. We want them paying taxes, starting businesses, growing their family, growing their business, generating revenue, not taking. So we don't want them surviving. We want them thriving, right? And then number four, we don't have enough workers as it is. We're basically what economists call full employment. What that means is everybody, now that doesn't mean everybody's got a job. It means everybody who wants a job pretty much is getting a job. It's not perfect, but that's pretty much where we are, full employment. So we need more people with certain pedigrees, more people, with welding and truck driving and licensed in a number of areas, professionals, whatever. IT, we don't have enough. STEM, we don't have enough. So we need more people in the boat rowing. And so there are a number of reasons we need to be for this. I'm going to let y'all work out the details. But I look forward to seeing the great things you do. And I actually look forward to you asking for more money than you did this time next year, because I want you to have so much success that you aspire higher and you dream bigger than you already are. So, and I want it where you don't even have to ask. And I'm so convinced by what I know you've done and the impact has been so widely seen and known that it's a given. It's an immediate no-brainer. So glad to be able to help. Don't give me the credit. It's taxpayer dollars. It's public money. It's not mine. I'm just trying to divert it to a good direction. And so I appreciate what y'all are doing. I hope it makes a big impact. I can't hear, but I see them.
Tim. Yeah, they're clapping.
Everybody's
Yeah, I
clapping.
see a bunch of people clapping, but hey, great. You're clapping for the settlement, and that's awesome. Anyway, appreciate the time. Anything else I need to answer or address, Ted or anybody?
General Griffin, I just wanted to say for everyone that's gathered here, taking their time away from their day job to work on this, we're all very, very grateful to have you on the team to help figure this out for the state of Arkansas.
Well, I appreciate it. I came home to eat some Wright's barbecue for lunch with my wife. So appreciate y'all. I know y'all gonna have some good food up there, but you're not gonna have it as good as the barbecue I'm about to get downstairs. Appreciate y'all. God bless you.
Thank you much. And Ted, thanks
Thank
so
you.
much.
All right. Bye-bye.